Hi there, I'm doing this video today to show you some basic electrical work that's been done to my car and some of the work including my radios and my phones. It's going to have to be a fairly quick video today because at the moment it's just literally started to rain. It's very light, as you can see probably on the windscreen, so it's not enough to do me camera any harm, but I do want to get it done sooner rather than later. Bought this new car a few weeks ago. It's a Citroen Picasso C4. It's a great car, great run around for the family, but it's not the most practical car for electronics and modifications and radios and stuff. And the reasons why are simple. You can't easily get electric into the boot or into the back of the car. It's a basic layout inside the car, and I'll show you this shortly. However, you've got cigarette lighter adapters, i.e. 12-volt outlet to the front of the car, which are operated by the ignition, but there's nothing in the back. Now, in other cars I've had in the past, in the back of the car I've been able to put cool boxes, battery chargers and inverters and anything else I wanted, which have come straight from the car battery, but in this there's absolutely nothing. So the first thing I wanted to do is to get myself a good high current supply into the back. I was looking originally at perhaps a 30 amp supply because I want to be able to do some radio work, which I want to be able to connect the radios directly into the boot for HF amateur radio. And you know, when you're sort of running power and possibly a couple of different radios up to 100 watt at a time, you need something a bit more substantial. Also for running cool boxes, not actual fridges, but just cool boxes. It's nice to have those when we go camping or go away for days in the summer, to be able to have the cool boxes just to keep things cool. These are the things I want to be able to run, and I can't. And if you're just relying on 2 cigar lighter adapters at the front of the car, just to give you 12 volts, that's not sufficient. Apart from anything else, you don't want cables running from the front of the car all the way to the back into the boot. It's just not practicable. So my challenge was to try and get a supply from the car battery into the boot. Now, on the previous Picasso I had, which you'll probably see in one of my other videos, you'll see that I had a supply in the boot. I don't know whether I actually did a video on it. I know that I did the installation video for installing an FT7800 dual band radio in that car, but I don't think I showed you the actual wirings. Well, I got a supply quite easily into the boot because the battery was situated in the car itself underneath the front passenger seat, and getting a cable from the front passenger seat to the boot was an absolute doddle. With this new Picasso, I say new, it's 6 years old, 7 years old, the battery is under the bonnet, and the firewall from the boot, from the bonnet to underneath inside the car is very tricky to get to, and I'm going to show you that now. So welcome to under the bonnet of the Picasso. Now, as you can see, it's all very neat and tidy in there. Now, you will see here that I've actually got the work done now. I will explain this to you in just a short moment. But if we try and zoom in to the back of the engine block, which is going to be a bit tricky, but right to the very back, behind the battery, you've got obviously the metal plate dividing the engine block to the inside of the car. That is something that we had to actually get drilled to feed the cable. Now, the cable I've decided to go for is quite a substantial cable for what I'm going to be using it for. This is going to carry a current of sort of 80 amps. Well, this is capable of carrying 80 amps. And it's properly fused here. We've actually fastened the fuse holder onto the lid of the battery case. We've left plenty of slack, and the cable's properly cable tied to metal parts to the side of the battery and the back of the engine, not actually touching the engine, just keeping it safe. That actually goes inside, I'm going to show you in a second, to inside of the car, and there I'll be able to show you how we've taken the feed to the back of the car. So the inside of the car then, this is where the cable came in. I'm not going to be able to show you because it's now all covered up. However, all this floor here, the carpet had to be pulled forward, and behind that carpet there's about that thickness of like a foam substance, probably for sound and heat insulation. So that had to be brought out, and then at about this level, round about here where my finger is, that's where a hole was drilled in order to go. And that was the only way that we could get the cable inside the car. We tried many other ways. We even tried coming in between the skin and the main frame of the car. We tried coming through original wiring looms that were made up when the car was first manufactured. You just can't get to anything. It's an absolute nightmare. I spent several hours each day for about a week exploring different options and different things to do. There was just no simple way of doing it. I wouldn't recommend drilling holes in your car. Well, outside the car, not a problem for aerials and stuff. But inside for electrical work, I would not recommend it, because if I was to drill from inside through to the engine, no my luck, I'll drill it in the wrong place and I'll do some serious damage, and that is a very costly experience. So what I did, I actually took it to an auto electrician's workshop and got the professionals to do it for me. They had to raise it up on ramps as well, because obviously where the hole is under the bonnet, there's no way they could reach down there to try and thread a cable to look for a hole. They had to do it from underneath the car and thread it up. So it's certainly something that I wouldn't recommend trying to do yourself unless you've got ramps and a lot of knowledge and skill. Once they got the cable inside there, I said to the chaps, right, that's it, don't do any more, I'll do the rest myself. I was mindful of the cost. I didn't want to be spending a lot of money on labour for someone else to do stuff I could do myself. Sirens. So I got the chap just to terminate the battery side with the fuse on and leave the wire coiled up here. The wire that they chose was a very well insulated cable, and they put grommets where it's necessary, and they've done a very, very neat job, and I'm very pleased with it. The cable, like I have said, is capable of carrying up to 80 amps. I don't intend on using that much current, but what can do a lot can do a little, so at least it's there should it be needed. But the main thing is it'll carry a minimum of, well, a maximum for me, probably about 30 amps. So what I had to do then is to get the power into the boot. The easiest way to do that is to come along, unpick this trim at the bottom and thread the cable, push the carpet out of the way and very carefully thread the cable. Now you need to be very careful that it's not going to fasten or tap anything or rub anything, because what you don't want it to do is start rubbing on some part of the metal frame only to short out and keep blowing your fuse or cause a fire or cause any problems. So I came along all the way down the side. I did exactly the same with the back of the car, from the trim all underneath, and I bought it, I think it was floor level. No, I bought it about halfway up, where I found an easy place then to be able to bring it along inside, behind the back seat, into the boot. Okay, so the light's causing a bit of a problem for this camera at the moment, but as you can see, this is the corner of the boot, and this is where the back of the seat is, and I brought the cable in. I'm going to zoom in a little bit there just to try and help you see where I brought the cable in.